So hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. So for all the people who are watching this as a video, and first of all, okay, this is something that I've never ever said, something that should have, said probably way more often than I'm actually doing. I have Instagram, I have Twitter, I have Facebook, and I have a YouTube channel as well. So kind of feel free to check them out. They're all in the description, whether it's in the podcast description itself or the episode description. They are all there. I would just really love you for checking them out because I do put a lot of work into them, and so it would be just a great feeling that some people are actually enjoying what I'm doing as well. But because this is something that I never point out, but I should, because actually there are some people who are quite listening to the podcast, and therefore I should actually just give it a little bit more attention. But I hope you're doing well, and we will start again, or we will go ahead with the practicing mind from I don't know whom, but I can, yeah. It's from Thomas M. Sterner. Okay. And we've somewhere stopped there, I think. So I will just start with here. I do not quite know. I've just looked up the other video as well. So this is actually the second part of it, if you might already see. But in terms of the podcast, this is the second episode. So I've made one a few days ago. I think it's actually 2 days ago, because in between I did something else. Or yes, it should probably be on today's Tuesday. It should definitely be Sunday, where I just uploaded the other one. But we will start ahead with this great book, and I hope it's a great book, so I don't know yet. So as we attempt to understand ourselves and our struggles with life's endeavors, we may find peace in the observation of a flower. Ask yourself, at what point in a flower's life, from seed to full bloom, does it reach perfection? And this is quite a hard question. I feel in general like that questions, such as a whole, are so important in life. This is actually something that I quite stumbled across just pretty lately, because I tend to ask myself a lot of questions, and I just really force myself to do it more often, to just get into my mind and get into why I do certain things, why these things happened, what could they mean, and so on and so on and so on. I think this is just really important, and really just you can really get something out of it. It just could provide you so much value for your life, in terms of actually understanding yourself a little bit better, or just seeing, okay, probably only just understanding you a little better. I think this is quite enough. Just what would you like to have, rather than just knowing yourself a little bit better, so that you can actually say, okay, it's all about self-awareness, to be honest. But the thing is, to actually kind of answer this kind of question, I think the flower is perfect when it's just really brilliant, and the colors are just so vibrant, and it's a young flower. It's nothing like old. It's nothing like kind of how do you even say when they're just not looking right? There is a German word for it, but I do not know an English one. So if they just do not look that good anymore because they are old or didn't get any water, and then I think they are just pretty not that nice, or they are not perfect. But I would rather say that they are perfect when they are just at their peak of the vibrance of their youth, some kinda. But I do just understand the question. But I also think that this is something that shouldn't be answered in terms of actually the flower. So most of the anxiety we experience in life comes from our feeling that there is an endpoint of perfection in everything that we involve ourselves with. There is an endpoint of perfection. So at my point of view, perfection is totally something that has nothing to do, or should not actually be in your life, because perfection is something that's not existing. Perfection is something that's inhuman, actually, because this is nothing that you will ever achieve. There will always be some things that are not perfect. There will always be some things that are not detailed enough, or whatever enough, not vibrant enough, whatever. It always also depends on whether you're, for example, drawing something. This is something that I do just have a lot of experience in. All the time when I'm just drawing something, I kind of feel like, okay, this isn't perfect yet. I do just want it to look a little bit better. And sometimes I even get to the point where I just worked on something that was already good for such a long time that it actually got worse and worse and worse during the process. And then at the end, I just, kind of had the perfect stage in between the just really beginning and the really end. But at the end I just end up with, a worse product that I could have. And this is something that I think you could also imply in life, or just also, yes, imply? Is it imply? What the fuck? So what you can also implement, what the fuck? So implement into your life, I think, because at my point of view, too much perfectionism in your life is also kind of harming you in terms of you actually not being as productive anymore, you actually not being as happy anymore, for example, or might be even possible. But so at the end, I think if you're happy and if you're happy with your perfectionism, that's totally fine. But if you're not happy and it is because of your perfectionism, you totally have to change something up. And I do quite feel like, okay, this is the exact same thing, or the exact same kind of, the kind of understanding, the kind of scheme for quite everything, unless you're happy, or, the most important thing is that you're happy. No matter what is just besides being happy, doesn't matter, because you are happy. And this is something that I want to point out, and I do want to emphasize a little more that just happiness is something that's so important. And a lot of people still, I kind of feel like, do just go for money or go for other things they think that make them just happy, but at the end they do not, and then they're just crippled. And this is not the way you want to go, and this is not the way you should go. So think long term and see like, okay, could this be something that, makes me happy? Or could this not be something that makes me happy? Should I actually do something else? And then we are just right ahead at, the questions again. Questions are so important and so powerful. So stop yourself during the day as much as you can and ask yourself, am I practicing flower-like qualities and staying in the present with my thoughts and energies? This is something that I kind of, I don't know, it's something kind of difficult for me, because all the people, and especially in this book, actually I just today in the train I just looked up a few books Bill Gates actually read, and he recommended this book that we are now going through already as one of his quite most liked books, and one of the books that he just got a lot of value out of, and just, if I remember correctly, changed his life in certain ways. But so I think that's totally true. It's some kind of great book, but we will totally see. But with the whole present thing, I do quite feel like, okay, living in the past is definitely something you should not do. This is something that I could totally understand and totally underline and emphasize. Do not live in your past. The past has nothing to do with your future. Maybe something like, maybe it has to do something with your present, because actually, it would make sense if you, for example, I don't know, smoked yesterday and, today you feel just bad because of this. So therefore, you might just feel the consequences of yesterday today. But the thing is, today you can always change everything up. And therefore, you are just really in control of your life in the present. And therefore, I quite understand why a lot of people just really, kind of suggest you to focus on the present. But I do kind of feel like, okay, just, staying in the present, but looking forward in the future and trying to create a great life for you in the future is also a way to go. So it might just, depend on the situation you're in, or depend on, what you're thinking about or what you're talking about. So it is our ego that makes us create false ideas of what perfect is and whatever we have reached it, or and whether we have reached it. Totally. Ego is such an incredible shitty thing. Habits are learned, choose them wisely. Totally. Habits are totally some of the things you can just learn, or I would even say implement into your life. I wouldn't say learn, because this is just something that you just do and maybe even force yourself to do. And through this process, you just kind of get another life, or you kind of get another habit, or you just get used to certain things, and this is then called a habit. You cannot change what you are unaware of. Totally. What is required is that you are aware of what you want to achieve, that you know the emotions you must intentionally repeat to accomplish the goal, and that you execute your actions without emotions or judgments. Just stay on course. You should do this in the comfort of knowing that intentionally repeating something over a short course of time will create a new habit or replace an old one totally. And I kind of feel like, okay, if you do really want to change, I always say I kind of feel like, but never mind. So if you feel like just having to change something up, having to change up, whether it's a pattern, whether it's just some kind of a habit, even though these two things are just some kind of correlated or even the same, I don't know. But if you just really want to replace them with another habit, this is something you can totally do. This is something that's not impossible. If it's smoking, if it's, I don't know, you jerking off way too lot. If it's, I don't know, there are so many things you could be doing that might just bother you. So I don't know, but I do think unless you have the discipline, everything is possible and you can just do it. You just need the discipline. You just need to focus. You just, need to focus on the good things that you will have after you've just changed up this bad habit, this bad pattern. And I think this would be drive enough, if you just really understand, okay, if I stop smoking, which I would really suggest you to do, because it's first of all taking you or just costing you a lot of fucking money, and second of all it costs you a lot of money through the surgeries you might have to take, the medicine you might have to take, and whatever. This is just the long run game. Even though I do have to say a lot of people have it in their genes that they just really kind of absorb the smoke in some kind of like hole, and they never get sick or never get any other issues with their health just in their whole life long. But this is not the same thing for all the people, so I would just, really suggest you to do. Maybe you're considering it. I just feel like, okay, this is something you shouldn't. But I think you just have to have the discipline and the focus to just really do these things and the proper motivation. And so, as I said, I think the proper motivation, or just at least you have the motivation of having something in the long run that might drive you for actually doing it because it's so good. So all the patience you will ever need is already within you. Totally. It just has to be embraced by you, and you just have to focus on it. And this is definitely something that I struggle with as well. So I'm just really impatient if it's in terms of, my business and or my channel and all the other things that I'm doing. I'm quite really impatient, and I do just have to remind me on this so often. To really just refocus and just, not get into any shortcuts. This is actually very important. I feel like, okay, doing another site, doing another Instagram page where I do just have certain products, for example, under kind of the cover of being like, okay, I do just feel like doing something else besides the whole thing and doing like the 80-20 time rule, like just 20% in the new thing, in the new page, and 80% in what I'm doing right now. And then I just come to the conclusion every single time that this is just only a try from my subconscious mind to really get to a shortcut, to earn money, to get to a shortcut to, get more audience or get a bigger audience, and so on and so on. I think the problem is this is something that's pretty difficult. So first of all, I kind of feel like, okay, this is totally something like shortcut searching. But on the other side, it totally makes sense to be in different just realms, different just areas, and just seeing what's working the best for you and what's even working. So I might be like, after 6 years working on this, that, haven't achieved something which is, probably not gonna work out, because, after 6 or 5 or 7 years, whatever, I will totally have so many videos that at least someone just, took the chance and took the opportunity, watched a few of my other videos and so on and so on. But you will never know. So it's quite hard, and don't cripple yourself with any thoughts like this. This is just also something that's important. Constantly reviewing new ideas creates, in a sense, a new habit of perceiving and processing our lives, a habit that brings us the sense of clarity we long for every day. There are not that many ideas in this book, just a few, and they have always been there for us to discover. But they slide away from us in our daily life so easily. They need to be studied over and over again from different angles so that they become a natural part of us. And I think this is exactly the same thing that I quite always talk about it in these terms as well. So just the patience thing, the just being happy thing, the just having the perspective and actually being like, okay, I have a very good life. Some have it way worse. Some people do not have even clean water, which is something that's totally normal for us. And still we do just, not kinda I do not want to just generalize it because that's total shit. A lot of people do just don't value it. They just, maybe don't see it. They don't just, I don't know, they just don't value it. They just don't see it. Whatever it is, they do not think about it. They don't think about it just actually being grateful for having the clean water, having their clothes, having their bed, having their food, and whatever. But that's totally nothing that's, obvious or some kind of normal. Totally not. A lot of people do not have running water. Even though I do just have to say, a book, I do not remember which one it was actually. And this was also, at my point of view, one of the books that some kind of Bill Gates recommends on his gatesnotes.com blogs. He actually has a blog and actually a YouTube channel as well, which has, a great variety of videos uploaded, which, a lot of topics and a lot of different stuff on this. And they actually produced very well. So they are just, really nice to watch. And they, even give you a lot of money. Not money, but value. But value is money. Nice joke there. So experiencing impatience is one of the first symptoms of not being in the present moment, not doing what you are doing, and not staying process orientated. Totally, just searching for, being impatient, searching for shortcuts, being like, okay, I want to have the money right now, I want to have the fame right now, I want to have the audience right now, all these things. This really is some kind of not thinking in the present, not being like, okay, I could actually do something in the present rather than just dwelling around that I haven't achieved what I've achieved right now. And these are always the just really moments that, drive me, that motivate me. That I really see, okay, I can do something today, and I'm doing something today, and I'm doing something every single day to get to my goal. Every single day. But it is important that you just like the process, because the process is a very, very hard one. The process is very tough. And this is just what I feel like. I just, lose a lot of sleep. I just cut up sleep sometimes, until I actually only just, sleep 5 hours a day, which is totally something you shouldn't do. But it's something like, okay, I feel like I just have to do this. And unless I haven't, I'm not feeling kind of fulfilled. If I just, maybe left out a video today, this is just something I wouldn't do. But this also just plays into the hands of, the whole thing that I talked about before. So actually creating a new page. It's the exact same thing with me just thinking like, okay, maybe I do just have to do certain other videos. Maybe I just have to do other videos. Maybe I just, have to edit these videos. Maybe the podcast isn't good enough. Maybe the quality is not good enough. These are all these thoughts. These are all these, I think, kind of fears, isn't it? But often then I just think like, okay, no, just calm down. It is okay. You just work on it. You will just see the results or not. You just do the best with what you have right now and just work on it and put in the time if you do not have the money right now. This is, a resource everybody has, is time. And still a lot of people think about time as, on the other hand, or on one hand, very, very precious. And on the other hand, not in such a category or not such a kind of scenario that it is also precious. So people might think like, okay, I do not want to do this school stuff today because my time isn't, very precious and I just need it for some stupid shit most of the time. But on the other hand, they just feel like, okay, I want to work for somebody, or I do want to work or just want to create my business, but I do not have any money, but they do also forget about the time. This is something I feel like it. Maybe it's just me, but, I quite feel like it. The first step toward patience is to become aware of when your internal dialogue is running wild and dragging you within it. That's totally. And meditation, which is something that I quite talked about a lot, and really helped me with not being impatient. And, the whole impatient thing. And, in general, I think my feelings, I do have them quite in a, better control than before, to be honest. I've always been just a very explosive person in terms of their emotions. I've always been just, really angry sometimes, and really just like, I've never hated someone. I still don't hate anyone. I think, maybe it's, some kind of criminal, but, never mind. But I don't hate anyone, but I do just am so fucking angry sometimes, which is something that I try to work on. And, so on is, it is quite, and also on the other hand, I feel like, okay, I could also use the anger in such a different way and just transform it into, a very strong just force to actually do certain things like work or whatever. Progress is a natural result of staying focused on the process of doing anything. When you stay on purpose, focused in the present moment, the goal comes toward you with frictionless ease. Yeah, just work and work and work and don't look back, don't look, too much, forward, just work, and I think, and I kind of feel like, okay, this is just the right thing for me as well. I'm just in the game for such a long time, and I do think like, okay, maybe it wasn't the best niche to pick because there are so many other people, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe someone out there just needs this certain video right now. And this is not what I'm hoping for, because I quite feel like, even though it's some kind of paradox that, I feel like, nobody should actually watch my videos. Because if they need them, it's not good. This is just shows me that a lot of people struggle with their self-development, with their business and whatever. And this is nothing that I just really wish somebody, totally not, especially the whole, mental game. This is just something that's, very, very tough for the people. So when you constantly focus on a goal you are aiming for, you push it away instead of pulling it toward you. In every moment that you look at the goal and compare your position to it, you affirm to yourself that you haven't reached it. In reality, you need to acknowledge the goal to yourself only occasionally, using it as a rudder to keep you moving in the right direction. Therefore, I quite always just think about it like, should I actually, just kind of look at my steps, not steps, but stats, so with STATS, on my blog. I actually have a blog, nowadays, or just really recent thing. I now have a blog. I do just make an article every single day, or at least I try to. I've already once missed it out because I think just posted it in the middle of the night, just the day afterward, which kind of pissed me on. But yeah, I do have a blog. What did I actually want to say? Yeah, I always think like, okay, should I actually just see how many followers I have now, see how many likes I got in this picture, see whatever, is this even relevant to me? Especially the whole follower thing, this is something I should never do. I should not focus on this, because if I focus on them, this just really is in my mind all the time, but it's not about my followers. It's about, not my followers in terms of a count or in terms of a, of a figure, but it should rather be me more caring about the people that I'm actually serving with the stuff that I'm doing. Yeah, creating discipline doesn't work. Cheating discipline doesn't work, totally. And the real thrill of acquiring anything, whether it is an object or a personal goal, is your anticipation of the moment of receiving it. The real joy lies in creating and sustaining the stamina and patience needed to do work for something over a period of time, totally. Because if you do not have the stamina or the patience or the kind of will also to just do something as a progress towards a goal, you can't even achieve the goal, because it just wouldn't work. But on the other hand, just having this kind of progress, having this certain steps, and whatever you're doing, this actually is the goal. This is totally something that I've been talking about yesterday, which is for me so important. The goal isn't the goal, actually. The process is the goal. And then if you really just understand this, and if you really just create a framework for yourself, that the fucking progress is your goal rather than the goal itself, you just fall in love with it. And you actually just even surpass your goal, maybe, because you're focusing so much on your progress, focusing so much on your way, so much on your work, so much on the people you're serving, rather than having like, I want to be a millionaire sometimes, and actually always just watching at your income, your earnings, and so on. When you let go of your attachment to the object you desire and make your desire the experience of staying focused on working toward that object, you fulfill that desire in every minute that you remain patient with your circumstances. So when you let go of your attachment to the object you desire and make your desire the experience of staying focused on working toward that object, you fulfill that desire in every minute that you remain patient with your circumstances. And I think this just really plays into the hands of me being like, okay, actually my follower figure isn't as much important as actually just being in the progress of just helping other people, just putting out the content, and doing whatever, just replying to the people, just, connecting to the people, just, commenting on other posts and whatsoever. But still, on the other hand, I do think that knowing your likes on your post is some kind of important as well, because this just shows, what's doing great, what is, what the community actually likes, what your audience actually wants. And yeah. So, simplicity and effort will conquer the most complex of tasks. Okay, I don't know, it makes sense somehow. And the 4S words are simplify, small, short, and slow. Simplify, when you work at a specific project or activity, simplify it by breaking it down into its component sections. Totally right, having really, really easy, especially if you're a leader and if you're just, having a team, you always have to simplify the whole message, the whole mission, the whole tactics, the whole strategy. Whatever you're just explaining to them, it has to be simple. You can't be like, okay, this is just very obvious to me, because, it might not be obvious for the other person, for the other one. So therefore, always make it simple, very clean, and whatever it takes to just make it understood, or just let it be understood by everyone out there. Small, be aware of your overall goal and remember to use it as a rudder or distant beacon that keeps you on course. Short, and now you can also bring short into the equation. I'm going to work at cleaning the garage for 45 minutes a day over the next few days until it is completely clean. Okay, what does this kind of say me or tell me? Is it actually the thing that you should do in the short term that actually just really gets you to your goal? Like, this is quite, the same thing that I'm quite, always talking about. Not always, but just really often, is that having a goal, breaking it down into so much small pieces that there's actually such a small piece that you could actually do something right now to get to your goal, to your end goal. And, there should actually be certain goals in between, like, your 1 year goal, your 5 months goal, or actually 6 months goal, then your 1 week goal, your 1 month goal, and 1 day goal, and 1 second goal, or 1 moment goal, which is, this exact same thing that you could do right now that will get you to your day goal, that will get you then to your week goal, and so on and so on. Slow. Incorporating slowness into your process is a paradox. What I mean by slow is that you work at a pace that allows you to pay attention to what you're doing. Makes sense of a kind of psychological standpoint on to just not get kinda into something that you actually didn't want to be, want to be or want to work on. So they actually kind of stay focused, maybe would even be a little bit better. And non-judgment is the pathway to quiet mind. And also don't judge yourself. This doesn't make anything better. Equanimity is defined as even temperedness. Temptness. Is it temptness? Temptness. Even temptness and calmness. It is because equanimity. Is it equanimity? Equanimity comes from the art of non-judgment, and non-judgment quiets the internal dialogue of our mind. Our concepts of ideal and perfect are always changing, totally, and therefore not going for the quality and not going for the ideal and the perfectionism is always a great way to go, because your 10 might be a 5, in terms of other person. His 10 might be your 3, actually. It could, also be just some kind of crust. You're just if you just assume something is, pretty qualitative or, has a pretty good quality, doesn't mean that all the other people will always also say that this is good quality. What we consider good or bad for ourselves doesn't stay the same. Wisdom is not a byproduct of age, teach and learn from all those around you. Totally, there are a lot of people who do just have such a lot of knowledge in every single way or any single niche or market. You really want to be yourself. So just go to the people, connect to them, and just work for the people that you admire, even for free. Yeah, this is something that I have from Gary Vee, and I do just feel it. So I will just always when I just hear something from other people, I will definitely say it as well. And I probably say, okay, this is from him or for her or from whomever, or not. It's just even if it's kind of coming up to my mind, I will say it. If not, then I'm very fucking sorry that I'm not saying it. But the last one is, with deliberate and repeated effort, progress is inevitable, and that's totally true. And we actually finished this book, and we actually also kind of finished the episode, because I'm actually 30 minutes in, which it's went so amazing today. Really, I do just, on the other hand, do just have to remind myself to be a little bit more friendly. I kind of feel like that I'm always or sometimes really sounding that, monotone, not even monotone, but I should be a little bit more smiling. This makes your voice sound a little different. Actually, if I just, do this like this, you can definitely hear that my voice is sounding a little bit different. I'm not saying better, I'm not saying worse. But yeah, so I think I actually gonna end this episode. I hope you have a wonderful day and or night, whatever time zone you're in, as always. And don't forget about your legacy. Your legacy is something that's very important. And giving back to people. Just you can probably remind yourself of a time where you just got something, and you really were just so amazed by it, and you were so happy that you maybe even just found this YouTuber or found this just creator or found this Instagram page or whatever you liked so much that you're just really happy to go on it, even for a few weeks and months and whatsoever. Maybe you could even just give back to the people something in the same way, or something like the same. And so I do just really hope you have your greatness, you have your wealth, your health, especially health. Health is important, and your happiness. Happiness is key, and also your success, if I haven't said it yet. But with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day and a night and whatever, and I love you, and I see you the next time. See you.